This clip is brought to you by Bout.
I mean, one of the songs that I guess people always speak about when it comes to the prime suspects is "Cops Running After You," which I think is quite aptly titled
That was
from the "I'm About It" soundtrack. I mean, what was the motivation like behind that?
well, so all right, so bam, the prime suspects is your new Gangsta T and me. Gangsta T is actually in the P and joking. They like first cousins and stuff. So that's how we knew them coming up. So they moved up the block from us, and we always hung like me and still, we come up together literally, as little boys. And so I had went to jail in '94. I caught a robbery charge in '94. Set till '96 on it. And when I'm looking on the TV, man, I see I'm about it. You about it. My mind blown. I'm like, what the fuck? So, I'm calling home and shit. They like, man, Pete, be a millionaire. I'm gonna tell you, better write. You better write. So, so this what made me start trying to write rhymes in jail. Boy, you should have heard that first shit. Unbelievable. Tony Montana was a soldier, but I did not know him. It sounded so, when I think about it now, it's comical, but I see P on there with UGK talking, playing something from the South Stack G. Now I didn't really know P. P was in California. I had met him twice. The brother that got killed, Cav, that was our big dog. We used to go everywhere with him. And later on, C. We used to go play 4-man. We was athletes. We was basketball. Us. We wasn't in the street at that point. We got in the streets after that. We was like late bloomers to that. But when we got out there, we was out there. And so we used to go play basketball. We used to go play 4-man, me, Skinny, and Steve. Any one of us on the team, Jimmy, we wouldn't lose. We'd be out there all day.
To you by Bout.
Yeah, so you said you was in prison and you heard the "I'm About It."
I heard this song, Bout It, Bout It. We bout it. They used to have some shit called it's a little local show. I forgot what the fuck they called it. But they used to play the same songs all the time. And the song was #1. And I see the little homies, I signed in mind in the video, I see Neil, I'm like, what the fuck? So I come home right on time. When I come home, he threw me and Stu in the movie. I was big man, he was half pint. And I remember telling a funny story I told. I had a fresh shirt on that day, and he wanted me to roll on the ground and shit. I'm like, man, I just bought this shirt. He's like, don't worry about it, fucking shirt. I'm gonna pay you for the shirt. So we did the little part. We robbed Silk. They ended up killing me. And at first everywhere we went, people knew me from being big man. People would want big man autograph every time we pull up at the airport or something. And from there, we kept telling people we wanted to rap, and he like, man, fuck that, I'm about to do the Body soundtrack. That night he gave us, for that part we did, he gave us $500 cash, right? So then he doubled back and he put us on the soundtrack. So we actually wrote that song coming from New Orleans, going to Baton Rouge, that hour ride. That's when we wrote the song in the car.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we wasn't rappers like the prime suspects. Gangsta T had been on Bounce That Ass, but we wasn't really rappers. We were street dudes at this point, and so like Mac and Fiend and all of them, Mystical, all of them had rap backgrounds.
Yeah,
all of them. They had, everybody had rap backgrounds. They had rap before. That's why we was there for me, to be a rapper. But we wasn't a rapper. So I don't think when we first got there, like, people respected our mind as no rappers, because we couldn't rap. And we was just he was P cousin and we was his boy. And that's how we kind of fuck with that.
I mean, I definitely always enjoyed the element that you guys brought. I know you say that you probably don't feel you could rap, but you were street dudes who could rap, so maybe the street obviously element came in first. And I guess that played out through the music because I always thought Prime Suspects delivered that grittier. Um,
We got better and better, and we needed each other at that time. You know, like it was hard to write 3 verses. You know, and so to do an album by like I'm telling you, Slim and Fiend and Mac, man, them dudes was talented. Them dudes was talented for real. And like, you know, I kind of like right now how I rap, I probably take a little bit from all of them. You know, like I couldn't rap before, but in my mind I can rap now. You know, like it's you listen. If you listen to me, you gonna fuck with me.
yeah,
And so, but yeah, that you know, boy, P had some shit on that tank. You know, like they had some like Hassan. Hassan, his little cousin, Gangster T, little brother, probably was the best dude to me, and you never really heard him. You know,
did they feature him on it? Was he featured on any albums?
featured on our album, but just on one song, "Sleeping in My Steel Toe." He says the drama that I'm bringing. He cut up on that bitch. He cut up on it, but you know he and Roscoe Nice.
Okay. Sleeping in My Steel Toes, yeah, I remember that. That was definitely a nice little track and stuff as well. I suppose before we get into the album, you know, you talked briefly on the Unbounded movie. Did you think that movie was actually going to be as big as it was when you was filming it? Or
No,
that?
ain't nobody knew that shit was gonna be. Can't knew it was gonna be. That shit was, you know, you call shit perfect timing. You know, he just was on the wave, and everything he did turned to gold. You know.
Nah, and people, because I mean, even as you mentioned, people to this day they still reference yourself and Skanu from the movie. So you know, it's become such a cult classic. They always go remember your scenes and stuff in there, and the character that you played, do the kidnapping and stuff like that. And I believe you had that scene where you had the line where you were saying when they asked you where's your brother, and you was like, you know,
fuck yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, that was my 30 seconds of fame. Look, I'm telling you, look, after that, so P called us back after the movie came out, it did what it did. So he brought all us to he called me, Prime Suspect, you know, fan, Mercedes, King Mac, Kane and Abel. I rolled up there with Kane and Abel. And we went to Jerry Lane in Baton Rouge. And so he was bullshitting, he laughing, you know, he like, man, what, you know, you got your license, E? And I'm like, no. He's like, oh, that's cool. You know, he fucking with us, you know?
Yeah.
So, but long story short, we all went to Progressive, and the nigga paid out a year for the insurance. He bought everybody Camaro. We rolled off the lot that night with like 12 Camaros, all different colors, without a mile on them. You know, and that was the payment. That's what he gave us for the movie and all of that. He gave us a $5,000 check. You know, you couldn't tell us we wasn't on. You know, brand new car with 5 racks. That was big.
Yeah, so I mean that must have definitely been a good accomplishment, especially you know getting that check and stuff as well at that time. You know, and seeing all the other parts moving just with the label and the music and the levers and stuff. It must have been something that would have been exciting, especially at that time to say, you know what, I can see things moving forward. The dynamic that you guys brought, I'd put you up there with, I'd say definitely one of the top groups I know really at that time.
Well, I say this. You know, if I was being fair, we were one of the most slept on groups. You know, like we didn't really have no promotion behind. We just stole off of what you know, the promotion was. You know, P was a genius in that sense because he you know, he was the first dude to put the upcoming album covers, whatchamacallit. So those album covers kind of like became iconic. You know, so
yeah,
you know, like Mercedes, the rear end. You know, that poster still sell. You know, but people remember those album covers. So we had went to pen and penciling, and just about everybody went to pen and penciling album covers or whatever. And that was he was a genius in that sense. But that's like all the promotion we got. Like we wasn't, like we I don't think the powers that be heard that we be pushed. Like they didn't. We was like I'm telling you, we wasn't no rappers. We was like it was almost. If I want to, it's like a favor, like like if I put my people on, and that's my people partner, but they can't.
So with that being said, do you accept yeah, sorry, bro. I was gonna say, with that being said, do you accept, I guess, some of the criticism then where, even though I don't feel this is true personally myself, but where some people say they feel as though No Limit had too many artists and some people weren't particularly rappers, they were just given an opportunity. I guess that kind of leads to what you were saying. Albeit, I do feel that you guys did display a lot of talent.
Yeah, that's what all them big labels do. They got a lot of motherfuckers ain't really about rapping. They got so many different. The best rappers, man, not many motherfucking rappers out here. I'd be like, them people better than me. It ain't coming from a hateful place. I'm just saying this is what I know. It ain't all about that all the time. You got, first of all, you got to have your business together. You don't have your business together. A lot of these little boys, like they got this digital shit now. The boys got their business together. A lot of them. So and then you can't really play them no more. You can't hide shit because it's all digital. We had this digital shit. Ain't no telling what would have happened. But if it was a fifth, fuck, I'd be who fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a different era, but some would say one of the best eras of the golden eras. Speaking briefly about your album Guilty to Proven Innocent, it was released and it peaked at number 36 on the Billboard, and number 14 on the top R&B and hip hop albums chart, selling over 40,000 copies in its first week. And a lot of the Tank made guest appearances on the album. It kicked off with a track called All for One featuring Master P and stuff. What was that track like being recorded?
That really was some bullshit. Like, people up in there and said anything, told us to get on it. I ain't really like that song. I would like to put a song on the album with me. I always did feel like that, but I just ain't never said it.
Really?
Yeah. People liked that shit. Like, I'm saying, Peaches went up in there. I'm saying, people's at a point where he could say or do anything. And
it was super hot. So it was just getting that P feature. Me as a fan, I thought it was a solid. I was like, shit, they got P hot track.
Yeah, he got to open it up, but that's one I never did like.
Well, I mean, going on to the next track, you had Money Makes featuring Silk and Katie Label. That was a tight track, and then this follow-up, which was also the single "Liquidation in the Ghetto."
Yeah, now see that one right there? That's that fire. That's that smoke. You could play that shit right now. It's the same thing, just a different time. Well,
I mean, yeah, go ahead, bro.
I'm saying, keep reading.
Yeah, no, I was just saying with Liquidation in the Ghetto, it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. You guys all killed the verses. I believe you could have been quoted in the Source magazine at the time for one of the lyrics of that album, if I remember rightly. I remember there was when they do the write-ups on the albums, they did quote your lyric, which was good and bad, right and wrong, lucky to land, you choose your fate, gracefully save your soul if you can, which is quite deep.
Life gets short every day, my nigga, make the right move. Cause your hustle spots wise, the police give you the blues. And see, that probably was my best lyrical song at that time. And actually, Gangsta T came up with that Glock. He came up with that hook and whatever. He got Peaches to sing it, and then he was like, "Man, y'all got to get a big dude on whatever song that's gonna be our video or whatever." He like, "Man, y'all got to get a." So Mystical came on there, and Mystical listened to the song, and Mystical ripped that bitch up. Mystical cut up on that song, one of his best verses ever.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good verses, but that was one of his top 3 verses. And he ate that bitch up, and TNC knew did thing. That was a nice song.
Yeah. So I mean, did you guys choose for that to be a single? Because we've had people ask, a lot of fans have said, why wasn't like My
We,
Old Lady a single, for instance, because that had Snoop and Fiend, and that could have been a big single.
yeah, but I'm saying we wasn't being pushed like that. Like it was almost like, you know, like we didn't know what I was thinking was gonna be. The powers that be telling us what I was thinking was gonna be. We had no control. Look, y'all doing. That's what it was. You know, we left boy better.
I mean, you know, back to the album, you had a lot of tight production. I think even you mentioned just being Slept On as one of the Slept On groups. I feel as though this album holistically was Slept On for having some of the tightest production. People feel it was one of the most well-rounded produced albums by Beats by the Pound. You know, just some of the, not
Yeah,
just the tracks with the Soldiers, some of the tracks with you guys on your own, like Max and Choppers, which was, you know, track number 4, for instance. I mean, I still ride that track to this day, you know.
Max and Shoppers. That was one I come up with. Pack
Okay.
the Max and Shoppers,
Mm.
and everybody kind of went crazy on the verse. And so that was a nice one. Like you know, that's the one thing I remember. Kane and me were listening to our album now, and he was like, man, this shit sound hungry. You know, I know it impressed him. It was one of the twins, the funny twin. You know, but yeah, he was just telling how hungry it was. But see, that's a funny thing you mentioned a feature on Kane the Neighbor album. Boy, this was some funny shit. See that song, Cornbread and Cabbage?
Yeah.
So bam. So that song on the beat on went up in that bitch and ripped it, right? That's all the freestyle. He just went up in there, you know. He was at the point where he could say anything, you know, he was the colonel. You know, so he went up in there, he ran that bitch, you know, and Pete, you know, Pete could rap his ass off, you know, especially for that time, you know. And so he ripped that bitch up. So like, I'm gonna put prime suspect. He said our names and everything. Like, but this was going on some type of movie soundtrack or something at the time, right? So they got 2 versions of that song out.
I was gonna say, I think there's another version on YouTube with Fiend on it as well. Or
I'm telling you right now, this is a story about that. So back, boy, Fiend and Max sitting over there, boy, they looking like, you ever seen the cartoons when the wolf see the rabbit and he still got the boy, they looking over there like they about to just go, they want to tear this bitch up. So boy, me and T sitting in the front, boy, we can't come up with nothing. You heard me? So boy, Fiend and Mac went up in there, and I'm talking about, check their version out of it. You know, they went up in there and told that, now that I told you that story, think about it along them lines and listen to it. And then they went up in there and did their thing. But then we doubled back and did a version with the Prime Suspects and Kane and Abel. You know, and that went on Kane and Abel and album. With that, you know, I never really too much. At that time we wasn't ready for a track like that. You know, that bitch was banging, and you know the pressure. You know, we just wasn't them dudes at that time.
Yeah.
But you know, whenever we did get on something, you know, we did the best we could and liked it. Like, you know, I'm saying that we couldn't really rap that good then, you know, something different. But I ran into a bunch of, you know, I just know they go check that shit out on my IG right now. That's that shit, you know. And you comment on everything, you know.
Yeah.
That's that shit.
We had Of All the Hustlers featuring C Murder.
The Murder.
Another solid track.
He cut up on there. Him and Skinu best version on that.
Yeah, Skinu. I think Skinu killed that. I think one of my favorite verses of Skinu was probably on. Him and C always did good features together and stuff as well. So you know, we got the Steady Mobby feature. We got to do another solid feature. So Much They Told Me featuring Mia, where, as you said, Mia killed that. I think you said that she got the lyrics down and just had everything where it contrasts each other, just having that female on there. But you know, Mia was always gonna rip everything she was on. You know, sometimes even more than the guys.
The shit that we was talking in the song, you can tell that she listened to the song, took the song serious. Mia was serious about her craft.
Yeah.
Like, Mia was the hardest motherfucker out when Mia was out, no question. You know, like who was fucking with Mia? You know, Mia was that chick. You know, so she was serious about her craft, still serious about her craft. Mia do something right now, Mia gonna do a serious song. You know, it's gonna be nice. You know, that's how she coming. So, but you can tell that she listened to the song and kind of like answered the shit that we would, you know, saying in the song type of thing. You know, and she ripped that bitch.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. You know, she killed it as she always did, especially at that time. I mean, not just the features on the album. You guys, to me, had some great solos. What it was just solos as you as the group. You know, one of them being "Consequences of the Streets." I feel as though that's definitely another standout track on the album. I think a lot of the standouts were the tracks that were just the Prime Suspects also as well. Even though you had the great features, you know, "Young Niggas" was another one that I think was a standout. Production was tight. Everybody kind of ripped their flows and their verses, and you had "Soldier for Life" as well, which was a No Limit kind of tribute song in a sense.
Right. You know, we wanted to, you know, that's what I'm trying to, you know, like everybody got one of them No Limit Soldier songs, right? But everybody come on and rip it. So, you know, quite naturally, we want something like that too. But, you know, like, you know, this just wasn't important. You know, so we came up with our own kind of version of Soldier song. You knew come up with that. You knew come up with that, and we did. For whatever reason, that verse hard as a motherfucker. Like, I just like I kept being stuck on that one right there, but I got it done. Came out right.
Yeah, and I mean, what about Daily Routine? That's another hot street record.
That's Gangsta T song.
Gangsta T on the hook.
Look at it. That song right there. We was trying to do another song that my partner Juve had. And he was like, "Nah, nigga, I'm about to put my twist on the album." I'm like, "All right, big dog." You know? And it ended up being one of my favorite ones.
Okay. That's just a hot one. I mean, we've had a few more fans ask about a track on there called Tweaking. They say that was quite a unique rap song and stuff as well. Another solo track. I believe that was yourself on that one, just a solo.
Yeah, that was something that like it's something I watched, and saw the dude doing. I was telling it like in third person, like as if I was the dude. It was like a hero song.
It got a lot of it was definitely creative and caught a lot of ears because just the concept itself alone, I guess, was unique. The storytelling as well. I think that's one thing that you guys didn't get too much credit for, or maybe you do from people who are avid listeners, was the storytelling, because I think you guys was great at just translating those street stories, those urban stories, the stuff what you've seen and experienced in the neighborhood, and just really translating that over to music.
Mm-hmm. That we had a we had come straight off the block. I come straight out the camp. We was hustling. T was doing this thing. We come straight off the block to rap. And the first time we went anywhere, boy, Pete took us to the How Could I Be Down convention, the rap convention in Miami. We rode on a bus out there. We coming with our street money, shooting dice with them. Them boys got hundreds like Monopoly money. And they ain't tripping if they lose. We trying to tear their ass up. So that we went the long route there. We went the long route there. But I'm saying that I wouldn't change it for nothing, but it was a hell of an experience. It made you come full circle. It wasn't all good, it wasn't all bad.
Who were some of the favorite guys that you featured with?
Oh man. I remember Bean gave us a song with a hook, My Old Lady. That was one of the better songs. C8, ate this verse, Mystical ate this verse. Mia ate her verse. Listen to the song, I could tell she was serious about her craft. She listened to the song and like answered that shit we was talking. And that was fire. And Steady Marvin did their thing on you know. Even Serve. Man, matter of fact, like, see, they were surprised. Now when we did our album was fire. You know, but I'm saying, like, we was just learning how to rap. Like, when we was on Mean Green and all, we was getting better and better. But we was just learning how to rap. You know, we didn't throw no raps away. Man, we had, like however many songs we put on that album was all we had. You know, like, that was all the songs we had. You know, so you know, I remember he, like, Fiend and them, you know, he did an album, he told him he ain't like it, and Fiend did a whole other album, you know. I don't know if we could have did that, you know. But people was surprised, like, everybody was surprised when, you know, like, the songs we was coming with or whatever. The shit was hard, and you know, it was hard for the time. You know, like, you play that shit right now, you know, it might sound like to a lot to the youngsters, it sound like AB. You know, that's why you got to fuck with it nowadays. You got to kind of like you got to world change every few years. You know, you be locked up and shit, missing. You know, so you got to kind of come and do it how they. You got to fuck with it how they fucking with it, or you ain't gonna win.
You had the dope feature on Sev's album. Was it Die Rich or Die Bitch? Die Rich or Die Bitch?
Serve album. Now Serve was like a big brother at the time. You know, Serve was the first dude to put us on his album. You know, see, that was like, we used to get a certain amount you know, for being on somebody's album. So, you know, the best rappers like Mac and Slim and Fiend, you know, they can go hustle 2-3 songs on somebody's album, you know, but we wasn't in that position. Got one, we was lucky. You know, so you know, them dudes was skilled. You know, when I look back on it, you had to respect it. See, even Reginelli, like, I know you be fucking with Rez. Like, back then, you know, he was good, but he wasn't like how he is now. You know, like, when you gotta shoot them jumpers. You know, when you motherfuckers just think you can rap, man, you gotta get that fucking mirror. You gotta shoot them jumpers. You don't shoot them jumpers. You know, when it's not going to boot, that shit professional. Like a record me. I go up in there in one take. You know, the jumpers, you can't do that. You know, but
yeah,
like Kobe and Michael Jordan, you think them boys wasn't shooting jumpers? You know, that's an analogy I'm giving you, but that's you got to work at your craft.
You know, I just think of even the features on, like, Kane and Abel's album, on I got the hookup soundtrack, that track Itch and Scratch, that one of my favorite tracks, period.
That's when we was starting to get good, when we did that one. You know, like, that one was nice. And then, you know, he put us on there with Fiend and Mac, and them dudes was so good, man. Mac was retarded. You know, Mac was gonna eat that beat. He was gonna eat that shit. You know,
crazy.
And Fiend wasn't, you know, Fiend a competitor. He ain't gonna let him burn, and he gonna keep up. You know, if not outdo him. You know, so that's the kind of competition they had amongst each other. You know, and we took one little verse and broke it up into fours or whatever. But everybody said some nice shit, and it was all right.
Yeah. I think that killed it, especially when you guys would do that as a group, sort of come together and share a verse.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me cut something off. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the new like the, you know, No Limit had at the end of No Limit kind of was, you know, kind of went crazy at the end there. You know, so I Skinu get to put some shit out with C because, you know, Skinu, like, you know, people had their differences and they go their separate ways. New went his way, but, you know, him and C was tight. So, you know, me and C went the other way or whatever. So, you know, Cain and Abel got in trouble. Steady Marvin got in trouble. You know, shit was like, it was chaos. Like, you know, no people ain't know. You know, Beats by the Pound said they wasn't fucking with it no more. You know, they just shit just went awry for that.
Was you kind of done with music at that point?
Huh?
Was you kind of looking at it like you was done with music at that point?
No, I wasn't looking at it like, we used to get little lump sums of money and shit. You can't tell us we ain't hot. You can't tell us we can't rap. We don't even know how this shit go, but we feel like they playing on it. So
Yeah.
but you couldn't really tell us that we wasn't, gonna be able to go and rap. That's what we thought we was gonna do forever, rap. The one thing I can say, without P, it wouldn't have been no rap. So, the big homie, put us on like that,
Yeah.
Guess it's on you after that, I look at it, I look back on it now, and I just like at that time, I just wish I would have focused like Lil Wayne did. I feel like I could have been, not Lil Wayne. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I could have been really nice, and myself. And so you gotta, like what Eminem say, if you ever get the opportunity, you gotta like lose yourself in the music. The moment you own it, you better never let it go. Might only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. I thought about that a lot. And I say, man, I should have just mashed instead of caring about, petty little beefs and shit with friends. I should have just mashed and come back and took everybody on. That's how I used to think. But, that didn't happen. I'm here now. I'm still like in the last year, I just been fucking with music a year again. And then, I be getting a good little response or whatever, but, I ain't really got too much out there. But I'm about to put it out. So.
I think Post No Limit, I remember did you feature on the After Tank album?
Yeah, I did with Kane and Abel.
Yeah.
That's why I was telling like Kane, one of the twins always did like anything he did, he tried to include me in it.
Yeah. I mean, that album, we did sort of cover and review it. It was, I don't want to say slept on. I think in one aspect, fans might have wanted more. It came off a bit more as a compilation as opposed to maybe I think they wanted more original tracks with everybody getting together and stuff. But, it was still a tight album nonetheless. It done its numbers and stuff. I mean, you spoke on Lil Wayne. I guess one of the major things that was happening throughout the No Limit tenure was obviously Cash Money blowing up and stuff as well. Did you have any affiliations with Cash Money yourself or any thoughts towards them?
No affiliation with Cash Money at all. I was all No Limit. And shout out Fiend, bro, because Fiend is one of my, one of the people I still contact with from No Limit. The homie always, Fiend one of them dudes that if he got some game in his head, to tell you that ain't gonna cost nothing, he gonna give it to you. He be helping out a lot. Shout out Max, bro. When I get a chance, I talk to Mac all the time. He back from that long, all them years. Good dude.
Yeah. Have you had the chance to check out his new album, Mac? Son of the City?
Yeah, matter of fact, me and him took a walk one day. And he let me hear a couple of them. They came out. I already knew it was coming.
Okay.
Mac old school with, Mac could get on the internet right now and talk that shit and blow up. But he don't want to do that because of, his journey. So he takes this doing it this way.
We did get that album release. I mean, obviously we know that there was a lot of changes that happened with No Limit. So do you remember like what was the last project that you guys featured on and how things sort of started winding down to the departure?
Last thing we did was that song Rocks on the Block. Got the nigga robbing spot shit. Got me reaching at my hip quick. Paranoia keep you alive. In my city, it'll be real slick. If you holding a scoring bricks, a hungry man to kill you for the love of cash. You feel that? where I'm from, niggas killing for crumbs, putting slaughter with big old revolver. You know, shells being left for the crime lab to come and test. You can beef if you want to beef, cut if you want to run. Hill for Soldierville got me carrying my gun. That was some shit that I don't remember how the hook go. That was the last thing on the No Limit, that gold tank shit, the No Limit.
Was that a compilation album?
A compilation album. That's the last thing we did.
Okay. Yeah, you just reminded me of the C Murder Where I'm From feature as well with some of those
The song that probably digitally got the most views from us was the song he was on C Murder on his album was Where I'm From. Yeah, that was probably. See, here go the thing with, you know, like it's probably be hard for the Prime Suspects to tour because, you know, we didn't have that it song mainstream, you know, like you know, like King and them got make them say whoa, man got wobble wobble. Like we didn't have that mainstream song that hit like that. So, you know, we was more underground.
Yeah.
You know, for the gangsters. You know, we didn't have commercials. You know, we talking about
no.
You know, this in the 90s, you know, the rules was different, you know. You know, how you could talk then and how you could talk now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think the one you mentioned after the compilation was Straight from the Heart.
Straight from the heart of the ghetto.
Yeah. Peace, family. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check us out on bout.online.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook for exclusive playlists and social media for all different types of segments and content.